Today I'm going to show you a pattern that I have designed myself, and it's a very, very quick and fast pattern that you use just a layer cake with. This is Kate Spain's Sunnyside by Moda, and this is the layer cake that I'm going to use to do it. I think the whole thing takes maybe 3 hours to make, and that is including pressing time. So you could definitely whip it up in just a couple hours. The first thing that I'm going to do is separate my layer cake out into 6 different piles of 7 in each pile, because there's 42 in this layer cake. So I'm going to do that, and I'll show you my piles. All right, you can see, although they're not totally in the screen, I've got 6 piles of 7 sheets of layers of fabric in each pile. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up each pile one at a time, and I'm just going to sew them together end to end. I'm not playing around with the order. I'm just going to get them sewn together. Once I have all 6 of them sewn together, I am going to press them. So we will be back in a few minutes when I get them all sewn together. I have sewn all 6. There's 1. Oh, let's get this out so you can see them. There's 1. And my second one, 2. 3. 4. 5. And 6. All 6 of my rows of 7 blocks in each row have been sewn together. I have not really at all messed around with the placement of them. One of the rows I did have 2, let me see if I can find it. I had 2 of the same prints in the row. Maybe this is it. Yeah, here it is. I had 2 of the same prints. So this print, the design, and this one were in the same row, and this one and this one were in the same row. And the only thing I did was make sure they weren't next to one another. I did not reshuffle them. Believe me, when the quilt's done, it's not gonna be noticeable, and it won't bother you. So my next step is I need to go over to my pressing table, and I need to press these seams open. So I'm going to get my strip stick, here's my strip stick. So I'm going to grab my strip stick, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to lay my fabric on it. I'm going to do 1 finger press down it, and then I'm going to press it. I'm going to press all my seams open. Once I've pressed all my seams open, then we move on to our next. All right, I've got all my seams pressed open, and now I'm going to fold them. I've already folded. You can see the other 5 are lined up here. They're all folded and ready to go. But now I'm going to fold this one so you can see. So what I do is I take the length and I bring it together, matching it. And the important thing here is that it's straight, because how we're going to cut it next, if it's not straight, you're not going to get straight rows. So I'm going to line this up really well, make sure I'm good and straight, and I don't appear to be perfectly straight there, so let's get that smoothed out. And then I bring it up like this. And you could see there I was a little bit off, so now I've straightened that. And I can look down and see that I'm pretty straight all the way across. I'm going to line it up on my mat so that I'm straight. And now I'm going to grab my ruler. Let's see which one will fit. This one will fit. So this is my Creative Grid 6.5 by 18.5 inch ruler. And I have a list over to my right of all of my cutting instructions. And My very first cut is going to be 4 inches. So on my ruler, I go over to my 4 inches. I'm going to line it up, make sure I'm good and square, and I'm just going to cut my 4 inches. And according to my little directions here, my right cut goes to the left, my left cut goes to the right. So I'll set that over there. Now here comes number 2. Make sure that it's still nice and square from my moving it. Square it up on the mat. And according to my directions, my next cut is 1.5. So I'm going to my 1.5 mark, making certain that I'm good and square on the bottom, and I'm making a cut. According to my directions here, my right goes to the right, my left goes to the left. Okay. And my next cut is going to be 3.5 inches. I line my ruler up to the 3.5. And for my 3.5, my right goes to the left and my left goes to the right. My next cut is 2 inches. So I make sure I'm good and square first. And yep, I'm 2 inches. So I'll go to my 2-inch mark. And I'm going to make a cut. And on my 2-inch mark, my right goes to the right. My left goes to the left. 2 more cuts. You can turn them straight. My next cut is a 4-inch cut. And on my 4-inch cut, my right goes to the left and my left goes to the right. This is my last cut. And on this cut, I do 1.5 again. Making sure that I'm square. And my right goes to the right and my left goes to the left. Okay, so now I'm going to put my ruler away because I'm all done with that. Here's my left pile, and here is my right pile. And I've left them in the exact order that they were in. You can tell from the first one. Now I'm going to take my right, the one that's on my right, it'll be on your left, and I'm just going to flip it over. Leave this one right side up, that one's flipped over. I am now going to take these, starting with this one, and I'm going to attach these 2 rows together. I am going to pin at this intersection so that I can line these up. And how I will pin, let me grab my pins. And how I will pin is I'm going to sew from this end down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these over, match my seam up very well. Hopefully you can see that. And because my pressure foot's going to go through this way, I'm just going to stick a pin right here. I'll pin this row, I'll sew it, and be back to show you what your next step is. Right, so you can see here I have sewn my first 2 strips together. I'm going to just lay those here off to the side so that they're ready for me. I've picked up the next 2, top 2, one from my left, one from my right pile, and I'm going to sew these 2 together. And you can see here I've got the pretty similar prints. I may flip it over. Let's flip it and see what it looks like if I do it in the other direction. If I do it in the other direction, I end up with 2 of the exact same fabric next to one another, and the only difference is the colorway. So I'm going to leave it like this. That is the only matching or order that I'm doing to it. That's it. No more than that. I'm going to let the cards fall where the cards fall this time. So again, I'm going to take my seams. I'm going to pin these together, match them up, and sew this row together. I'm going to do that for all 6 rows. Once I have all 6, then we will take a look at what the next step is. All right, I've sewn all 6 of my rows, and when I sewed them, I laid them one right on top of the other, keeping them in that order. So now my last step is going to be to take all 6 of these and sew them together again. Now again, I'm not really messing with the strips a lot as to trying to keep them in order or certain placements. There are a few things that I am doing though. I need to connect this row to this row. And I know that I don't want this little strip at the bottom. The reason being is because this is going to finish off at 1 inch. And if I put this at the bottom, by the time I get the binding on, you're really not going to see the, you're not going to see it. It's just going to kind of blend in with the binding. And I really want it to show. So I will start and I will line them up. I'm going to take a quick peek to see what I've got next to one another here. I think I'll go like this. Yep, I don't have no big deals. Those are kind of close, but I don't care. It's all right. I'm just going to flip this over and I'm going to sew that together. I will do exactly what I've done from this point. I will match my seams up. I will pin them, sew them together. I'm going to do that for all 6 rows. Hi, it's all done. I have sewn all the rows together. I'll see if I can get a good picture for you. I definitely need to do a good pressing of the whole thing. I don't think it even took me 3 hours to do it, maybe right around 3, but it didn't take long at all.